Kidney patients, 4 nuts you should eat and 6 nuts you should never touch. Are you or someone you love living with kidney disease? You've probably been told to follow a kidney-friendly diet, but when it comes to nuts, things can get really confusing. Nuts are often seen as healthy snacks, yet not all of them are safe for kidney health. Some can actually make things worse. Today, we're here to clear up all that confusion. We'll walk you through the 4 nuts kidney patients should eat and the 6 nuts they absolutely need to avoid. This video is packed with important information that can truly make a difference in managing kidney health, so make sure you stay with us till the very end. And without any delay, let's jump right into the 4 nuts kidney patients should eat, not just ones they can eat if they feel like it, but nuts that truly offer real benefits for kidney health. And taking the #1 spot on our list is a nut that might surprise you: macadamia nuts. Now, we know what some of you might be thinking right now. Wait a minute, aren't nuts bad for kidney disease? That's a completely fair question, and you're not wrong to be cautious. Most nuts are high in minerals like potassium and phosphorus, which people with kidney issues really need to limit. But not all nuts are created equal, and macadamia nuts are one of the rare ones that can actually fit into a kidney-safe diet. But before we dive into the benefits, let's take a quick moment to understand why potassium and phosphorus are such a big deal when it comes to kidney disease. Your kidneys act as your body's filters. They remove extra fluids and minerals like potassium and phosphorus to keep everything in balance. But when kidney function declines, they can't do filtration efficiently, and these minerals start building up in the blood, and that's when problems begin. Too much potassium can cause muscle cramps, irregular heartbeats, and in some cases, even heart failure. And phosphorus? It can pull calcium out of your bones, making them weak and brittle, while also causing dangerous calcium deposits in your heart and blood vessels. That's why kidney patients are often told to stick to 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams of potassium per day and 800 to 1,000 milligrams of phosphorus. And this sounds like a lot to track, but that's exactly where macadamia nuts shine. 1 ounce of macadamia nuts, that's roughly a small handful, contains only 104 milligrams of potassium and 53 milligrams of phosphorus. That's impressively low, and it means these nuts don't overload your system the way others can. But the benefits don't stop there. Macadamia nuts are rich in monounsaturated fats. These are the healthy fats that help lower bad cholesterol and reduce inflammation. And why does that matter for kidney health? The 2 leading causes of kidney damage are high blood pressure and diabetes, and heart health ties directly into both of those. If your heart is under stress, your kidneys will suffer too. So eating foods that support cardiovascular health is a smart way to protect your kidneys at the same time. What's more, macadamia nuts are also low in carbohydrates, which means they won't spike your blood sugar. That's a big win if you're living with diabetes, or even just trying to keep things in check. So we're looking at a nut that helps balance minerals, supports your heart, and stabilizes blood sugar. Honestly, it doesn't get much better than that. But let's talk practical for a second. How can you eat them? Macadamia nuts are incredibly versatile. You can enjoy them raw, roasted, but unsalted, tossed into a salad, or crushed and used as a crust for chicken or fish. You can even make your own macadamia nut butter at home. Just make sure it's not loaded with added oils or sugars. Now, how do you pick the right ones when shopping? First, always check the label. Go for unsalted, raw, or dry roasted macadamia nuts. Avoid anything that says salted, honey roasted, or glazed. Those can pack in extra sodium or sugar, which is not ideal for kidney or heart health. If you're buying in bulk, make sure they smell fresh, not rancid or overly oily. And what about storing them? Since macadamia nuts are high in fat, they can go rancid if not stored properly. Keep them in an airtight container in the fridge if you plan to use them within a few weeks, or freeze them for longer-term storage. Stored properly, they'll stay fresh and delicious without losing their nutritional value. However, there is one important thing to keep in mind. Because macadamia nuts are high in calories, about 200 calories per ounce, portion control is key. Eating too much can lead to unwanted weight gain, which may worsen high blood pressure or make blood sugar harder to control. And while the phosphorus and potassium levels are low, they can still add up if you're eating multiple high-mineral foods throughout the day. So, all in all, macadamia nuts are smooth, buttery, and surprisingly powerful when it comes to kidney health. Just stick to a small handful, choose the right kind, and store them well, and you've got a snack that supports your kidneys, your heart, and your blood sugar all in one. And next, we're going to talk about a nut that you've probably seen sprinkled on pies, baked into cookies, or even candied during the holidays. It's rich, it's a little sweet, and yes, it's one of the more surprising additions to a kidney-friendly diet. Any guesses? That's right. We're talking about pecans. And trust us, you're going to want to stick around for this one. So why pecans? Well, first off, pecans are relatively low in phosphorus compared to many other nuts, which matters a lot when you have kidney concerns. In just 1 ounce, pecans contain about 78 milligrams of phosphorus and around 116 milligrams of potassium. That means they put less mineral stress on your kidneys, which is exactly what you want when managing kidney health. But there's more to pecans than just being gentle on your kidneys. They're loaded with polyphenols, which are natural antioxidants that help reduce inflammation in the body. Now, what exactly is inflammation? Think about when you get a cut or a bruise. Your skin might get red, warm, or swollen. That's inflammation at work. It's your body's natural way of protecting and healing itself by sending extra blood and immune cells to the injured area. However, the problem starts when inflammation sticks around too long, what we call chronic inflammation. Instead of helping, chronic inflammation keeps damaging healthy tissues, including the delicate tissues in your kidneys. This ongoing damage can cause swelling, scarring, and reduce the kidney's ability to filter waste and balance minerals properly. That's why managing inflammation is so important if you want to protect your kidney health. Pecans, with their antioxidant polyphenols, help calm down this harmful chronic inflammation. Including pecans in your diet means you're giving your kidneys a break and supporting their ability to stay healthy. And here's something else really important. Pecans also support your heart and blood sugar health. They improve insulin sensitivity, helping your body manage blood sugar levels more effectively, especially important if you have diabetes or want to avoid it. Plus, pecans help lower the bad low-density lipoprotein cholesterol, which can strain your heart and kidneys. So, pecans don't just protect your kidneys directly, they also support heart and blood sugar health, which are key to preventing many kidney problems. Now, how should you enjoy pecans? They're super versatile. You can sprinkle them raw on your morning oatmeal or salad, toss some into yogurt, or use them as a crunchy topping on roasted vegetables. Just be careful to avoid sugary or salted versions, because added sugar and salt can work against your kidney and heart health goals. When you're shopping for pecans, look for raw or dry-roasted unsalted nuts. Avoid any with coatings, added sugars, or salt. And since nuts can spoil because of their healthy fats, it's best to store pecans in an airtight container in the refrigerator or freezer to keep them fresh and tasty. However, keep one important thing in mind. Pecans are calorie-dense, packing about 196 calories per ounce. So it's important to stick to a small handful to enjoy their benefits without going overboard. All right, moving forward, let's talk about a nut that's truly a powerhouse for both your brain and your heart. Yes, we're talking about walnuts. Now, you've probably heard that walnuts are great for brain health, or that they're loaded with omega-3 fatty acids. But what makes them such a smart choice for kidney patients? Let's break it down together. First, walnuts are packed with something called alpha-linolenic acid, or ALA for short. This is a plant-based omega-3 fat that's especially good at reducing inflammation in the body. Why does that matter? Because, as we know, chronic inflammation is one of the biggest threats to kidney health. It can cause damage to kidney tissues and blood vessels, making it harder for your kidneys to do their job. So by helping to calm inflammation, walnuts give your kidneys a much-needed boost. Second, walnuts are slightly higher in phosphorus compared to some other nuts, around 98 milligrams per ounce, And they also have about 125 milligrams of potassium. For someone with kidney issues, that means you have to be mindful not to overdo it. Limiting yourself to 1 serving per day is a good rule of thumb. Too much phosphorus and potassium can overload your kidneys and cause complications, so portion control here is key. Third, walnuts are fantastic for your cardiovascular system. They improve vascular health by protecting your blood vessels from damage, which helps keep blood pressure in check. Since high blood pressure and diabetes are leading causes of kidney disease, eating walnuts can indirectly support your kidney health by reducing those risks. Plus, walnuts help combat metabolic syndrome, a cluster of conditions that includes high blood sugar, which is especially important if you're managing diabetes. Now, how should you enjoy walnuts? They're very versatile. You can eat them raw as a snack, toss them into salads for a satisfying crunch, sprinkle them on oatmeal, or even add them to baked goods. Just steer clear of salted or sugar-coated walnuts, since added salt and sugar can harm your kidneys and overall health. When buying walnuts, look for fresh, raw, or dry-roasted, unsalted options. Avoid those that are flavored or coated. Because walnuts contain healthy fats, they can go rancid if not stored properly. To keep them fresh and tasty, store walnuts in an airtight container in your refrigerator or freezer, especially if you buy them in bulk. And one more thing to keep in mind. Walnuts are calorie-dense, packing around 185 calories per ounce. So even though they're healthy, it's important to enjoy them in moderation to avoid unwanted weight gain, which can also affect kidney health. So, did you know walnuts aren't just brain food, but also a kidney-friendly powerhouse? Have you ever tried adding walnuts to your meals or snacks? Drop a comment below and tell us your favorite way to enjoy these amazing nuts. We'd love to hear from you. Alright, now let's move on to the next nut on our list. Hazelnuts. These little guys might not get as much attention as walnuts or pecans, but they definitely deserve a spot in a kidney-friendly diet. So, what makes hazelnuts special? Let's dive right in. Hazelnuts pack about 193 milligrams of potassium and 82 milligrams of phosphorus per ounce. Compared to some other nuts, that's moderate mineral content, which means they won't overload your kidneys, especially if you stick to small portions. They also provide around 178 calories per ounce, so portion control remains key. One of the big reasons hazelnuts are so good for kidney patients is their rich content of vitamin E and antioxidants. Vitamin E is a powerful antioxidant that helps protect your cells from damage, including the delicate cells in your kidneys. Plus, antioxidants help fight inflammation, which, as we've talked about, is a major contributor to kidney problems. Hazelnuts are also packed with healthy fats, which support heart health by lowering bad low-density lipoprotein cholesterol. This makes them a great option if you're watching your blood sugar or trying to reduce the risk of diabetes. They help regulate blood sugar levels, keeping those dangerous spikes in check. When it comes to enjoying hazelnuts, they're incredibly versatile. You can snack on them raw or roasted, sprinkle them over yogurt or salads, or even blend them into nut butters. Just be sure to avoid salted or flavored varieties, which can add unwanted sodium or sugars. Buying quality hazelnuts means looking for fresh, plump nuts without any signs of shriveling or discoloration. Like other nuts, they can go rancid because of their healthy fats, so store them in an airtight container in the fridge or freezer to keep them fresh longer. While hazelnuts are generally safe and healthy, remember that eating too many can add extra calories and minerals, which might be tough on your kidneys if you overdo it. So, moderation is definitely the name of the game here. And there you have it, the 4 nuts that kidney patients should eat. Not just because they're tasty, but because each one brings serious benefits for kidney health, heart health, and even blood sugar control. But here's the thing. Just as some nuts can help protect your kidneys, others can silently work against them. And that's exactly what we're diving into next. Alright, now let's move on to the nuts that kidney patients should definitely avoid. And first up is a nut that might actually surprise you. You've probably been told to eat it for brain health, to support weight loss, or even to lower cholesterol. And it sounds like a superfood, but if you're dealing with kidney issues, This one could be more harmful than helpful. We're talking about almonds. Yes, almonds. They might be on every healthy snack list out there, but for someone with kidney disease, they can pose real risks. Here's why. Just 1 ounce of almonds contains about 208 milligrams of potassium and around 134 milligrams of phosphorus. Now, if you remember what we discussed earlier, when your kidneys aren't functioning properly, they can't filter out excess phosphorus effectively. And when phosphorus builds up in the blood, it starts pulling calcium from your bones. That leads to bone weakening, and over time, it increases your risk of fractures. Even worse, too much phosphorus can cause calcium to build up in your blood vessels, leading to serious heart problems. And what about blood pressure? Let's talk about that too. Almonds are often sold salted, and all that extra sodium can send your blood pressure soaring. Now here's the real danger. High blood pressure is actually the second leading cause of kidney failure after diabetes. Why? Because when your blood pressure is too high, it puts constant strain on the tiny, delicate blood vessels inside your kidneys. Over time, this pressure damages the filtering system, reducing kidney function even further. You see, the damage doesn't happen overnight, but consistently eating high-phosphorus, high-sodium foods, like salted almonds, can speed up the decline. And even though almonds are lower in calories, around 164 per ounce, the risks far outweigh the benefits for kidney patients. So, if you've been mindlessly munching on almonds, thinking they're always a healthy choice, it's time to rethink that. When your kidneys are on the line, every bite matters. All right, moving on. Let's take a closer look at a nut that almost always finds its way into trail mixes, curries, creamy sauces, and even vegan desserts. It's soft, mild, and incredibly easy to munch on without thinking. Yes, we're talking about cashews. Cashews often get labeled as a health food, and on the surface, they do have some benefits. But for people with kidney issues, they can be a bit deceptive. They're high in both potassium and phosphorus, which means even small amounts can put unnecessary pressure on already stressed kidneys. And because they taste so light and pleasant, it's really easy to go overboard without even realizing it. What makes things trickier is their carb content. Cashews are one of the higher carb nuts, which isn't great news if you're managing diabetes alongside kidney disease. Eating too much can quietly raise your blood sugar, and over time, that sugar strain contributes to kidney damage. It's a subtle effect, but a powerful one. And let's not forget the sodium factor. Cashews are often sold roasted and salted, which pushes up your sodium intake. That matters because high sodium contributes directly to high blood pressure, and high blood pressure is the second leading cause of kidney failure in the United States. It damages the tiny vessels in your kidneys, making it harder for them to do their job and accelerating the decline of kidney function. Even when it comes to calories, cashews come in at about 157 per ounce. Not outrageous, but again, the issue is portion control. Most people don't eat just 1 ounce. It's one of those nuts you can keep reaching for without realizing how much you've had. So tell us, have you been eating cashews thinking they were a clean, healthy snack? Did this change how you see them? Drop a comment below and let us know. All right, now let's keep this going, because the next nut on our avoid list might really surprise you. It's colorful, it's crunchy, and let's be honest, it's one of the most fun nuts to eat. Whether you're cracking open the shells or tossing a handful on your salad, pistachios are hard to resist. But when it comes to kidney health, well, we've got to talk. Pistachios are often praised for being heart healthy, and sure, they do have some good nutrients. But for someone with kidney problems, they come a few red flags that just can't be ignored. For starters, pistachios pack a serious potassium punch, about 291 milligrams in just a 1 ounce serving. That's nearly triple the potassium in something like macadamia nuts. And if your kidneys aren't able to filter properly, that amount of potassium can start to build up in your blood, leading to a dangerous condition called hyperkalemia. It doesn't always show symptoms right away, but it can cause muscle weakness, irregular heartbeats, and in severe cases, even heart failure. But that's not all. Pistachios also come with a hefty dose of phosphorus, about 139 milligrams per ounce. And remember, Phosphorus is another mineral that struggling kidneys have trouble eliminating. When it builds up, it can pull calcium from your bones, leading to brittle bones and even calcium deposits in blood vessels and organs. Now, let's talk about how pistachios are usually eaten. Most people buy them roasted and salted. That salt might enhance the flavor, but it also sends your sodium intake soaring. And as we've already talked about, high sodium directly contributes to high blood pressure. Blood pressure that isn't controlled becomes a slow, silent threat to your kidneys. In fact, it's the second leading cause of kidney failure in the United States, right after diabetes. High blood pressure damages the small blood vessels inside the kidneys, reducing their ability to clean your blood and regulate fluid levels. And while pistachios might only have about 159 calories per ounce, the real issue is portion control. They're just too easy to snack on. The shells might slow you down a little, but not enough to stop you from going overboard. Now let's keep going, because the next nut might look like a powerhouse of nutrition on paper. But trust us, there's a hidden risk here that most people don't even think about. These nuts are large, buttery, and often labeled as superfoods. Any guesses? Yes, we're talking about Brazil nuts. And this one definitely deserves your full attention. Brazil nuts are often praised for being nutrient-dense. And it's true. They are packed with selenium, a mineral that the body needs in very small amounts. But here's the catch. One single Brazil nut can contain over 90 micrograms of selenium. That's more than 150% of the recommended daily intake. Now imagine eating just a small handful. You could be getting over 500% in just one sitting. So why does that matter? Because while selenium is essential, too much of it can actually become toxic. This is known as selenium toxicity, and it can lead to symptoms like hair loss, brittle nails, fatigue, and even nerve damage over time. But more importantly for our kidney audience, high selenium puts extra pressure on your kidneys, which are already working hard to manage other excess minerals. And we haven't even talked about phosphorus yet. Brazil nuts contain about 206 milligrams of phosphorus in just a 1-ounce serving. That's more than double what you get from something like pecans. For someone with compromised kidney function, this is a red flag. Remember, your kidneys help filter out excess phosphorus, and when they can't keep up, it builds up in the blood. That can lead to weakened bones, joint pain, and calcification in arteries, which increases the risk of heart disease. As for potassium, Brazil nuts fall into the moderate range, with about 187 milligrams per ounce. Not as high as pistachios, but still worth watching. And the calorie count? Around 186 per ounce. Not the worst, but they're dense, and again, too easy to overeat. Especially because they taste so good and feel so indulgent. When it comes to blood sugar and blood pressure, Brazil nuts don't really offer any specific benefits that make them worth the risk. And while they aren't typically salted, their mineral profile alone makes them unsuitable for kidney patients trying to balance their levels carefully. It's not just about what's in them, it's about how much your kidneys have to work to deal with what's in them. So, even though Brazil nuts have that superfood reputation, the truth is they're not super for everyone. And if you're managing chronic kidney disease, or even early-stage kidney concerns, it's better to steer clear of them altogether. All right, let's keep the momentum going, because this next one might catch a few of you off guard, especially if you love pesto or fancy Mediterranean dishes. We're talking about pine nuts. Yes, those tiny little ivory-colored seeds that come with a big price tag and an even bigger reputation for being gourmet and healthy. But if you're managing kidney disease, pine nuts might not be as innocent as they look. At first glance, pine nuts seem like a great addition to any diet. They're small, delicate, and loaded with healthy fats. But when you dig into their nutrition facts, you start to see the problem. In just 1 ounce, about a small handful, you're getting around 163 milligrams of phosphorus and 169 milligrams of potassium. And remember, that's in a very small portion. So, while they may look light, pine nuts are actually incredibly dense in phosphorus, which is a big concern for anyone dealing with chronic kidney issues. Now, what about blood sugar and blood pressure? Pine nuts are actually neutral when it comes to blood sugar. They're low in carbohydrates and not likely to cause spikes in glucose, which sounds like a plus. But despite that, their high phosphorus content overshadows those small wins. In short, they don't really offer any kidney-specific benefits, and they still contribute heavily to the mineral burden your kidneys have to process. And let's be honest, pine nuts are way too easy to sprinkle onto salads, blend into sauces, or snack on by the handful. That makes them a sneaky source of excess minerals, especially when you're not keeping track of portions. If you do have them around, they need to be measured out very carefully, and for most kidney patients, it's simply not worth the effort or the risk. All right, and finally, the last one on our list, one that almost everyone has in their kitchen, and something that's often mistaken for a harmless, even healthy snack. It's crunchy, creamy, and found in everything from school lunches to protein bars. Yep, we're talking about peanuts, and of course, peanut butter too. Now here's where things get tricky. While peanuts are technically legumes, and not true nuts, they're still consumed just like any other nut, and that's exactly why they've earned a place on this list. At first glance, they might not seem too bad. 1 ounce of peanuts gives you around 200 milligrams of potassium and 113 milligrams of phosphorus, numbers that might not scream danger in isolation. But here's the deal. Portion sizes with peanuts and peanut butter can get out of hand real quick. Who really stops at just 1 tablespoon of peanut butter or a tiny handful of peanuts? Exactly. Almost no one. Plus, most commercial peanuts are salted. And let's not even get started on peanut butter. It's not just peanuts in that jar. There's added salt, sugar, hydrogenated oils, and sometimes even preservatives. All of that can spell trouble, especially for someone with compromised kidney function. The sodium content in just 2 tablespoons of regular peanut butter can climb fast, and when that sodium builds up, it contributes to one of the biggest issues for kidney patients: high blood pressure. And why is that so important? High blood pressure is the second leading cause of kidney failure after diabetes. It slowly damages the blood vessels in the kidneys, reducing their ability to filter waste and regulate fluid balance. So when we talk about cutting down on foods like peanut butter, it's not just about phosphorus and potassium. It's about protecting the entire system that keeps your kidneys functioning in the long run. Now, to be clear, we're not saying peanuts or peanut butter are evil. For the general population, they can have some benefits. But for someone managing kidney disease, the risks outweigh the rewards. Between the additives, the sodium, and the tendency to eat large portions, it's just safer to avoid them or replace them with better kidney-friendly alternatives. And there you have it. The complete guide to the nuts kidney patients should eat, and the ones they should avoid to keep their kidneys healthy and strong. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like so it can reach more people who truly need to watch it. Also, don't forget to share it with someone you love or anyone you know who's struggling with kidney issues. And of course, make sure to subscribe for more helpful videos like this coming your way soon.